Hello, welcome to another video, and this is the third part in our series of looking at what to do when things go wrong, and this time we're looking at the shoulders. So just like the other two videos, we'll sort of look at what's the movement, the very one movement that often causes issues, and it's usually overhead things, not always, but often it's the hardest thing for someone to get back if there's an injury present. So it's also the very thing you need to try and work out how to improve. Horizontal pushing, things like push-ups, chest presses also can be an issue, but they'll precede the problem that you'll see here. All right, so if we know that that's the issue, and we've been working on a program that's building up to it, and then something goes wrong, well, as opposed to the other two where I didn't, with back pain and knee pain, I didn't really focus too much on mobility as an issue, but with shoulders I definitely do, because so many muscles that are involved in that area that will create trigger points and all types of issues around the scapula, just because the shoulder joint is so unstable. It really relies heavily on stiffness to provide its stability, especially when something goes wrong. So one of the first things I'll often do is regress back to something like this, being a thoracic mobility exercise, because you'll very quickly see stiffness develop in this region. They may not have any pain in that region, so the thoracic spine being along around here. So this particular one's working the top part of around the top of the shoulders and the scapula there. All right, so you'll often see incredible stiffness that robs the shoulder of stability and any good movement at all, even feeding into the lower back as well. So, all right, so one of the first things I'll do is work into this region, and with a bit of time it starts to relieve the stiffness. I definitely haven't fixed your problem, but it allows you to move forward into some of the exercises that might follow from that. All right, so once you've worked on your mobilizing, then we'll do some stabilizing. Again, very, very simple things. Now I must stress, these are not the only exercises. These are just to give you examples of where, like we discussed in the one with back pain, we want to get away from vertical loading, which was what we saw at the start with the shoulder press. All right, so once the shoulders are you're standing, there's a hell of a lot more stability that's required. In this 4-point position, which is a closed chain position, you have incredible amount of stiffness. That's good stability here. That's position of this 4-point position gives the shoulder a hell of a lot more control. The ground is not moving for a start, so you're in much more favourable position to activate things that may be very difficult to do standing up with cables and dumbbells, and especially barbells. So this is a simple protraction exercise just to develop the serratus anterior, which is sort of around the front of or just under the top of the rib cage there. All right, so this is a crucial part of the puzzle in getting good scapular rhythm, and obviously that joint stability that we're looking for, because if it's moving too far to the front, you're going to get all types of impingements and things like that. Right, so this is again, it's a very low intensity exercise. It's nowhere near enough to make any difference in the long term, but it's a stepping stone to the ones that do. So when things go wrong, these are the things you step back to that hopefully restore some good movement, so you can come and try the harder things once again. Now, once I've moved on, if I want to try and get into some standing positions, but I don't want to have any complication, this is where I might work on some trigger point release. Again, like I said before, I didn't really use this as much with the knee and the back pain, but in this one we definitely do. These trigger points really create a lot of issues, make it near impossible to move well. So releasing through the infraspinatus and the teres muscles here on the side of the shoulder really help you to get that overhead movement that we saw before. So spending a bit of time doing this all the time, because it's amazing how quickly it tightens back up, but if you spend the time with it, it gets a bit easier. So I love to use this in combination with the wall slides, and especially the version with the foam roller, because it gives a bit of that pushing action that we just saw with the protraction of the serratus anterior exercise. So it helps get that good scapular timing and rhythm, and obviously generates better stability of the shoulder once again. All right, and you can see how similar that is to the overhead press we saw at the start. Obviously there's no load in your hand, you're just learning how to move your arms with good stability, good freedom of movement without the stiffness. So, you know, when I walk around the back of Dylan here, you can get a better visual of what the scapular sort of rhythm and how it should work. And it should feel nice actually too when you actually, it's funny how when you push against the roller with your arms, how much better the timing is. So that position there is where the scapula is really rotated right out into its upward rotation, and there's plenty of space at the shoulder here. The lats are releasing, good thoracic extension, everything you need for overhead movement that's not going to bang the shoulders up. Alright, so there've been some of the exercises I've regressed to when things go wrong. Obviously there's a ton more, so check the links in the description under the video, because I'll provide you with additional exercises and other methods and all the different things that I may or may not use. But these are some of my key ones that I'll come back to when that person's aggravated and there's issues, and it hopefully will very quickly restore them back to a position of no pain, so we can move forward in doing the things that really need to be done. Alright, so I hope that video gives you some good ideas, and you know, obviously this really could go for 3 hours, the shoulder one, but just to give you an example of just understanding the concept of how to get out of aggravating from vertical loading into horizontal loading. Alright, yeah, hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you on the next video.